this could be a thing. Small car and ding repairs, that is me. Looks like I am live. So, this should be interesting, guys and gals, because I don't know what I'm doing. So, here we go. Let me work this out. But I'm pretty confident right now that I am live on the internet. So, welcome. I'm back. I am melting with that heater. So there's a lot of comments, questions that have been left while I've been away. I've been in Aussie for 2 weeks on Kangaroo Island, visiting my mother, making sure the island is still floating. So I haven't looked at the YouTube account while I've been away. I just got back this week, and there are a lot of questions, comments that have been left, as you can see here. So I have to go through them and answer them anyway, so I thought I may as well try out this whole live stream thing, see how it works, and yeah, if anyone joins the live stream, then we can answer more questions as well if there are more questions. Sorry, it's hard to work out how to do all of this and talk at the same time. It gave me no warning that I was going live. It just did it. What I want to do is... there we go. Okay. I think we have worked out. Maybe. So what I'm trying to do is find the chat, because I can't, there, I can see it. It wants me to log in to Google. Next. What is my password? Does anybody remember? Don't know if I remember. Oh, there we go. Now we're verifying. I'm sure this will become easier as I do this more. This is the first time I have ever done this. You'd think I would be able to settle this up not being live, but there you go. There we go. I now have a chat window, I think. Yes, you're live, Scott Manson. Thank you for letting me know. I can now see the chat window. Alright, that was a mission. So, let's have a look at some of these comments and questions, see what we got. I have had a quick scroll. There are a few of them. Probably going to be some easy ones, I would say. Derek DiDonato, 5 likes. Thanks for promoting handmade boards from local shapers. So if you saw the last video that I put out before I went away, where I introduced Shapers Collective, which is the new showroom I'm opening hopefully on Monday from the front of my workshop, that will only deal with New Zealand shaped boards, and it's sort of a better deal for New Zealand shapers than they would get in an ordinary surf shop. If anybody is out there Let me know if there's any issues with audio, anything like that. Where's that other window gone? So yeah, hopefully on Monday that showroom will open up. So it's my pleasure, Derek Donito. I'm stoked to promote handmade boards from local shapers. I'm excited to get my hands on them. We now have Primal surfboards in there, Cult surfboards and House surfboards. So waiting on a lot more shapers. I think I've contacted 80 odd shapers from around the country. Let me write an answer to this. This is what I do, you guys. So this weekend I have to hang a bunch of signs up still. There's still quite a bit to do before I can open the doors on Monday, but mostly signage. I just have to pull down old signage, move it, because I'm changing entrances to the workshop. So yeah, where the customers normally come in is going to change. They won't come in there anymore, so I've got to move all of that shop front signage to the other end. So that's this weekend's task. Third Earth Surf, hello and welcome. Who have we got next? Rainham, excellent tips, plus I get to eat more ice cream. So in the last video we were talking about washing brushes and there were ice cream buckets involved, that's right. There were some questions I saw on the brush washing thing of if you fill an ice cream tub with thinners or acetone, the acetone will evaporate. So maybe the questions are in here, come to think of it, we'll get to that. But yeah, my suggestion is put a lid on the acetone so it doesn't evaporate away. That's my call. Mole ice cream. Mole better. So I do have a bit of work, something I've got to work out as well. Since I've been back, there were a few boards waiting for me when I got back from Aussie, but a few more have come in. I think there's some more coming in tomorrow, 3 more maybe, and even a catamaran. Someone brought me a catamaran, little Hobie, like trailer sailor thing. So I've got to work out what the next video is going to be. I also have another surf ski in the shed here at home, so I do have a bit of work, but I haven't done anything this week other than just setting up Shapers Collective and trying to get that ready for Monday. Once that's open and all done, that'll be a big weight off my shoulder, and then I can focus on fixing things. Brilliant idea, good luck. Thanks, thumbs up. These are members only videos, so Third Earth, you'll know all about this, but for all you other guys, you're not allowed, you're not privy to this content. South County, wonderful playground, but no one playing. Time for you to suggest Smallkind Wave Park. That'll get them moving. I wish, man, I wish. How do I? This is embarrassing because you get to see me try and use computers, which I am not very good at. So once we get through all of these, where are you located? I'm located in magical Mungafai. Mungafai. Oh. Struth. Magical Mungafai. NZ. Shaka. Oh no, where's my Shaka emoji? There, bastard. So this is what goes into me replying to your comments, guys. If I've ever replied to one of your comments before, this is me sitting up at midnight, cruising through all of these. Granted, there aren't usually as many. I tend to do it a couple of times a week. This is the land restoration, very interesting video and take on the whole industry. I do have a question. As a non-surfer, what was the knotted line added for on the fin? Oh, so that was the land restoration, and the last part of that video drilled a hole through the fin to put the leash string. So that is what he's asking about. Cheers for watching, Richard. What was the question? Oh yeah. The string is for the board's leash. That. Oh no, I'm spelling in public as well. That's embarrassing. That attaches to your leg. Best Ding Repair channel on YouTube. You're damn right. Ah, no. Sure. So, this all seems to be going pretty smoothly. It doesn't really tell me. It tells me that look, I can show you even. Look, this is the little window I've got. So 6 concurrent viewers, chat rates at 0, Jesus, and 11 views, but I don't know if that means that there's 11 people there right now. Maybe it tells me here. No, it doesn't. Oh no, I've lost my little window. Where's it gone? There. This is also 2 monitors, which is new to me as well, so I don't know where to look, and then I keep looking at the screen and not at the camera, so that's weird as well. It's going to take me a bit to get used to this, but the plan is, if I can get this live stream thing kind of sorted, and after tonight I should know how it works, then hopefully every week I can do this for 40 minutes, an hour, thereabouts. We can go through the week's worth of questions together, and I can answer them if there's anything that comes up. And then while I'm answering those questions, so if somebody is asking about something like levels of contamination, and someone in the chat has a question that relates, then people can ask the questions as I'm answering other people's questions. Feels a little bit more personal, the idea of it anyway. What a great idea. It's also nice to hear from someone who is confident in speaking of their worth. I'm a joiner and took a long time to understand that for myself. Ruben. I know a Ruben. I don't think that's him though. Confidence in your ability. So that's kind of an interesting topic. So I didn't always have confidence in my, how does he put it, worth as a ding repairer, that is, not talking too deeply. But certainly when I started this business, I was really practicing on people's surfboards. I remember when I was maybe, how old was I? 18, 17, 19, somewhere in that kind of range, and I started busking guitars in the city, and the whole thing that kind of catalyzed that was I was sitting at home every night or Fridays, Saturdays playing guitar on my own, and then I thought, well, what if I just sat on the street and played guitar? And I wasn't very good. I'm still not very good, but I was basically just practicing, and if people threw money at me, that was brilliant, and if they didn't, then it didn't really matter. I was playing guitar either way, whether I was sitting in my living room or sitting on the street, and I sort of learnt to repair boards the same way. So I figured I can keep practicing on my boards forever, or I can just do it and people can pay me to do it. But I wasn't very confident, obviously, because I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was much cheaper than the competition, and those boards would always come with people would bring me a board and I would let them know, hey, I'm new to this and I'm pretty confident I can do it, but I'm learning, so it's not like you're taking it to a professional. So I charged them appropriately for it, and I didn't destroy anybody's board in the process. But I was not sure of my worth for a long time, as Ruben here points out, because I wasn't confident in my abilities. So it's hard to confidently tell a customer it's going to cost this much when you're not 100% sure how the board's going to come out. Whereas now I'm pretty confident when I see a board, I know what the end result is going to look like even before I've started working on it. That's something I do want to do, though. A lot of people have asked for a video on pricing, charging for surfboard repairs, and I really want to do that video because I think it's something that's needed. I've seen a lot of ding repairers, and I've spoken to a lot of ding repairers who don't know how to charge, are undercharging. I may be one of both of those things, but it seems to be something that ding repairers struggle with. So it would be good to put something out there, at least on how I charge for boards and the way I think about it. And I've tried to make videos. I've tried to make 2 videos on the subject, but it's just not a good topic for a video, I don't think. It's really difficult to make and edit and get footage to put together with it. So I think the live stream setting is going to be a much better way to do it. So one day I will sit down here and I'll go through how I charge, how I bill, and then I can even edit that live stream after I've filmed it into a video. It might be a little bit easier that way, and people can ask questions along the way. And yeah, Scott Manson, how much did you charge for a fin box repair when you first started? So Scott, what I would do is I would get a board in, or maybe I'd get 4 boards in, say 4 different customers, and one was a fin box, and one was a broken leash plug, one was a crease or whatever it was. And I would take photos of those boards, and then I would find ding repairers around New Zealand, and I would send them photos of the boards as a potential customer. So I'd email them, a ding repairer in Taranaki, say, and I'd say, hey man, I've got this surfboard, I've creased it, so could you give me an estimate on what it'll cost to fix? So with fin boxes I did the same, and fin boxes in New Zealand for Futures, FCS2s, Fusions, they're going to start at around 150-ish, 120, 150, depending who you're using. So I would basically find out what a professional was going to charge, and then I would knock off $50 because I wasn't a professional. I was doing it in my shed at home in the garden. So that's basically how I did it. I just deduct from what the pros were charging until I felt confident enough. Well, until I had overheads, really. Once I moved into the space I'm in now and had overheads, then it all kind of had to change. But yeah, it's a tricky one. Charging, all that pricing and stuff, especially if I've never done it before this. This is the first real business I've ever run, so working all that stuff out is really difficult. But there is a big difference too between working at home versus working in a factory like I do. So my overheads are, once I moved out of the garden shed at home, my overheads quadrupled. So I have to charge a lot more now than I would have had to charge at home. But then if I ever moved the business back home, it's unlikely that I would lower my prices to account for that. One, because I think I should get paid what my abilities are worth, and also 2, is I do know there's a bit of a thing with home repairers, if they're nearby to, we'll call them professional repairers, but even if the guy working at home is professional level and has been doing it forever and a day, if he's charging half the price as the guy who's renting the factory with all the overheads, you're essentially undercutting your competition, and I'm not into that. So I think ding repairers should have kind of a base figure that we're all roughly in the same margin, and that doesn't matter how much rent I'm personally paying or how much rent the other guy is personally paying for their workshop. That's my personal thought on the subject. Anyway, I do have there's a ding repairer in New Zealand who I'm quite friendly with, and good guy. Have learned a lot from him, and he's been one of the best contacts I've had in the ding repair world, I guess. I think I've taught him a bit, and he's definitely taught me a lot. And he works from home, so his prices are much cheaper than mine. And luckily, we don't work anywhere near one another. But I did think if we were in like the same city or the same town, that would give me the shits. We are memories. Did you mention in a video you were previously a downhill skater? I was. It was like my 20s. Pretty much most of my 20s. I rode downhill skateboards around the world. I chased the World Cup tour, so all the way from Australia, New Zealand, Europe, North America, Hawaii, Canada, the US. I don't count Hawaii as the US, neither do they. Yeah, so that was kind of my gig. I rode for a company called Rain Longboards, and a wheel company called Orangutan, and a helmet company called Predator, and a couple of smaller shops. I even was sponsored for a while by Suomen Luonnon Suojeluliitto, which is the Finnish Nature Conservation Society. So there you go. With the gas mask on, Third Earth, yes. So that that probably needs some context, because that was in the members only video. But I can pull that photo up because I felt the need. If you guys don't know, there's a Facebook group called Backyard Surfboard Shapers, and it is the best Facebook group on the entirety of Facebook. It's an amazing page. I would highly recommend you go and sign up. There's a lot of really clever people on this page. Wealth of information and knowledge, there it is. And so I felt the need to post up a snapshot of me trying out my new respirator, which is what Third Earth is talking about here. But yeah, I used to skate downhill in that respirator. Good times. I haven't got to try the respirator yet. I'm not sure. Somebody actually mentioned in that, I'll bring that back. So this guy, Robert James Hutton, he was saying that these masks for a period of time had asbestos filters in there. So that freaked me out. Oh, there's the photo. So that's a race in Finland that I used to hold once a year. So I bought the mask specifically for that. But yeah, so these filters apparently had asbestos in them for a while, which is terrifying because I've worn that mask quite a bit and breathed heavily in it. So yeah, I don't know how to know if there's asbestos in it or not. So if you're not worrying about fiberglass and resin, you're worrying about asbestos. Red Board Riders. Pretty sure they're in Ruakaka, just north of here maybe. Great stuff. I love this kind of thinking. I visited a massive collab working space recently in Europe. These kind of ideas are great. Cool. I did quite a bit of research before starting Shapers Collective, just to see if anybody had done it before, and making sure I wasn't stealing the name from somebody, which I was. There's a Shapers Collective in the UK, but it's a little bit different. So I'm interested to know if there's any similar. Pardon me. It's kind of weird because although it's not really a collab, I guess, because everybody's sort of working in their own factories or setups, and then they're all just selling boards from the same place, as opposed to like a men's shed collab or something where everyone goes to the shed and uses the same tools and all that kind of stuff. I guess it's a collab, yeah. But I'm interested in that kind of thing. I think it's cool, and I'd like to see more of it. Yeah, interesting. Thank you. Now I understand the levels of contamination concept for brush, squeegee, longevity. Well done on the concept. Execution for Shavers Collective. Best of luck. Yeah, so that was in relation to cleaning brushes. So having your 3 ice cream containers of acetone, your clean thinners, your dirty thinners, your medium thinners, and your clean thinners, and then rotating those ice cream tubs as you go. So I haven't personally done it. I should make that disclosure that it's not something that I practice, because I use those chip brushes, and I get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boards out of the one brush, so then I just turf the brush afterwards. So yeah, it's not something that I've put into practice, but I've heard that that's a way to do it. It is quite wasteful. It's something I've thought about a bit, but man, there's so much waste in the whole industry, I guess, but even in like the masking tape I go through, holy moly, and masking paper and all that kind of stuff. And of all the products that I use, those chip brushes are wooden handles, they're horsehair bristles, so they're probably the friendliest products I've got in the workshop, until I dunk them in resin and turn them into plastic, essentially. But yeah, the amount of stuff that gets thrown away. When I first started the business, I bought a glass bottle cutter, and so I drank a lot of Corona back then. That was just my beer of choice. So I was cutting all of my Corona bottles and cut the top off, so I was just left with like a cup, basically, like a mug from the bottom of the bottle. And that's all I used for probably close to 2 years, I reckon. That was what I used to mix all my resin in, shy of full board laminations, but for ding repairs I would use those bottles, and it did pretty well. But it was a lot of extra work to like put time aside to cut your bottles, and every time someone came round to my house, I was trying to like, oh, you want to cut bottles? You want to give it a go? And people go over it pretty quick. They do it once and then they don't want to do it again. As much as I enjoy your videos, I'd say leave... Oh, this is members only video. It won't make sense to anybody, but thank you, MJ Charger. Finbox, can I use PU expansion foam on an EPS board also? Yes, you can. It's fine with EPS. So I get that question a lot. It's a fair question. So the expanding foam, can you pour it on EPS or will it destroy the foam? I've never actually tried it, but I'm pretty sure if you took the two raw ingredients of that expanding foam and poured them on EPS, they would probably destroy EPS foam. I have very little doubt in my mind. But once you mix them together, the expansion and the curing or the hardening is so fast that if there's any potential for damage to the EPS with those two chemicals, it doesn't have time to have effect. So yeah, yes, that's a long answer. Yes, you can use it on EPS. I missed one. Any idea when you might have a Shapers Collective website? Be cool to be able to see an all New Zealand website like you said. So we can buy local. Yes, I have been speaking to a buddy Rory about a website. It will be done. We'll probably wait until we have more Shapers in there. But it would be really cool to have a catalogue of the Shapers that are in there. So once we get a couple more, then we'll probably start looking at a website. It still doesn't even have a Facebook. It's got an Instagram, but no Facebook. But I feel like I'm kind of swimming in Facebook pages and Instagram pages at the moment. So it's all getting a bit much. I like Instagram. It's easy to use. Facebook, bit of a nightmare. So yes, we will. Third Earth. Are the Mirka Sanders? Yep, you spelled that. Oh, Mirka. Mirka. An Oz or New Zealand brand. I don't see them here in the States. Also, can you purchase different density pads for them? So Mirka is Swedish, I believe. And no, you can't buy different density pads. You can buy different sizes. So you can get the 125 or the 150. Although you're in the States, so that might be inches for you guys. But not different densities. So I use interface pads, which are kind of like kitchen sponges with Velcro on them, but they have the holes punched through them to match the sandpaper and the sanding pad. So yeah, they're not quite as precise as, because you've basically got your pad, which is hard, and then you've got your interface pad, which is soft. So you're basically going to have a hard and a soft, as opposed to like one of those big polishing sanders where you could buy like a soft, semi-soft, medium, semi-medium, hard, semi-hard, and you've got all those different densities. So it's not quite as precise as that. How do you spell that like that? Website is definitely in the pipeline. Probably wait for some more Shapers to jump on board. Jump on board, get it? Too funny. Website is definitely in the pipeline. We'll probably wait for some more Shapers to jump on board first. Oh geez, this video, the bane of my existence. All that is really demonstrated is the importance of knowing the entrance to an estuary or harbour before attempting it. Arguably the boater was always more at risk than any surfers. I would agree with you, Andrew Worth. I'm not going to reply to you because I'm sick of that video. That was the bar crossing video. And yeah, over that, so I'm not replying to comments on that anymore. And this guy might have asked 2 questions. No, maybe not. And how long do you need to wait to make sure that the inside of the board is completely dry from salt water seeping into it when it was damaged? So that's going to involve EPS. This video is quite old. I don't actually remember it all that well, but I'm guessing this question relates to the video. So the short answer is, if you're drying EPS, you wait as long as it takes, and that is going to depend how much water is in the board, really. Yeah, it's not a very helpful answer, but that's basically it. I have a clubby board in my racks from Orua Surf Club, I believe, and that has been up there almost a year. The entire deck side and a big portion of the underneath was delammed due to some very shoddy repairs from an old repairer around here. So the thing filled with water, delaminated. So I've cut all the delamination off. The deck I've cut like that much glass off, and the underside maybe like that kind of much glass. And it is still dripping water on a daily basis. And it's been, close to a year, if not a year. It's been a long time. There's obviously a lot of water in there, and those clubby boards are like 7 inches thick of foam, so there's a lot more foam than your standard EPS surfboard. But yeah, it just really depends how much water is in there. So, short answer is... what was the short answer, and how long does it need to make sure that the inside of it is... Short answer is... it takes as long as it takes. It's really going to depend on how much water is in your EPS and how far it has travelled within the board. Not the most helpful answer, but it's such a pain. And the other thing with EPS is that there's just no way of knowing if it's ever going to be dry. You know, like you can leave it for a week and maybe it feels dry where the ding is, but you don't know what's going on a foot down in the board. Maybe there's more trapped water in there and you repair it and now you've trapped the water in there forever. Yeah, it's a difficult product, is EPS. What's this one? This is the land restoration. Personal opinion here, but I think that with a historic board like this, a sympathetic restoration like what you've done is beautiful because it honours the history the board had seen. I think in cases where the board is a mass-produced board like my 20-year-old BIC 7.8 or a newer damaged board, a full restoration is a choice that makes complete sense. I'm watching your videos and trying to learn how to restore my own epoxy board. Oh geez, I never surfed long enough to own more than one. So she's my baby and I want to teach my grandchildren to ride her soon. Yeah, can't argue with that. Yeah, what can I say to that? This is hard, you guys. This is what I go through when you guys leave comments. Especially deep comments like this one. What about they are all worth saving in their own way? Good luck with your resto. Have any troubles? How's that? There we go. Doing it for the love, not the profit. Well, really, I'm doing it so I get to how do I phrase that? I've been telling everyone that the only reason I really started Shapers Collective is because there's so many shapers around New Zealand and I've never seen their boards in real life. I've never held them, I've never touched them, they've never come into the shop for repair because the shapers are so far away that their boards never really leave their little community, you know. So there's a ton, like there's a guy in Wellington, DMG. I would really like to see one of his boards. I've followed him on Instagram for a long time and never seen one. It's never come in, never got to feel it, hold it under my arm, look at it, and I'd really like to. He's doing epoxy boards and I think EPS epoxy, but I think he's doing it in small enough batches that he seems to be making a really he's only really doing custom orders, and he works. It's just him. It's not like a mass-produced kind of thing. So I think he's producing really good boards from what I've seen, and I would like to see them. So by starting Shapers Collective, hopefully I can get some DMG boards up in Mungify so I get to feel them. That's kind of the selfish reason behind it all. That's going to be one of the hardest things, I think, is I don't know if the feeling disappears. I've always wanted to ask someone, Roger Hall or Wayne Parks, the next time I see either one of them, I'm going to ask them, when you shape a board, when I shape a board, every board I shape, I'm like, I kind of want that. Like, maybe I won't sell this one. I'll keep that. I'd like to surf that. And I don't know if that feeling ever disappears. And for people like Parks and Roger, who have shaped thousands upon thousands of boards, do they not think that anymore? Or do they still have that thing of like, oh, maybe I'll make one of these for myself. Oh, I should keep that. I don't know if that disappears. And I think with Shapers Collective, it's going to be difficult as well, because there's going to be all these boards coming to Shapers Collective, and there's probably going to be a lot where I'm like, oh, I could buy that. Maybe I should buy that one. It's tax deductible, you know, R&D. That's going to be the hardest part of it all, is not buying boards. I really don't need more boards right now. Have you used a brake fluid tester pen to check EPS for moisture content? I've heard that it's a good way to be sure it's dry and ready for repair. I haven't personally, but I do know people who have and do use even the so what did you say, brake fluid tester pen. So I know guys that use timber fluid testing pens, moisture meters, that's the word. So I know people that use moisture meters, which seems like a good idea. I usually use the end of a screwdriver. I've got a black screwdriver, and when you press it on foam that's wet, when the black metal's wet, it's obvious. It looks really wet. So I normally use that, and I can kind of like dig around in there a little bit. The thing with the moisture meters, I don't know how far into the board they would read. So if you had like a ding here on an EPS board, and there's water all the way back here, how far would that moisture meter read? If it's dry here because there's been airflow there for a couple of days, is the moisture meter still going to pick up moisture sort of further in the board? I'm not really sure. I don't know. But yeah, I'm open to the idea. I don't think they would hurt. But what's a brake fluid tester pen specifically for moisture content? Oh, I'm guessing you're checking your brakes to make sure there's fluid. That's my guess. I'm not a car guy. What else we got? Hey, I don't know if anyone else is having this issue, but I cannot subscribe to this channel. It keeps saying error, try resubscribing. Hey, I don't like that, Bowie. Bowie. That's the saddest news I've heard all month. Dude Lebowski. Yeah. Alright, Dude Lebowski. I love your comments. They always make me look at that. Received one of the highest number of hearts from you. He's a top commenter, is Dude Lebowski. I appreciate his comments, but if I can ask you one favor, Dude Lebowski, can you put it all into one comment? Although maybe it's better like this because it feeds the algorithm. I'm not sure. Mate, with those brushes, I get 6 months out of them. Holy moly. Yeah, I bet. It wouldn't surprise me if you can clean the chip brushes the same way as any other brush. I'm guessing not quite as well because they do lose bristles. Yeah, they lose bristles more easily than a higher end brush. But yeah, I have no doubt you could use one for 6 months. So my question to you, Dude Lebowski, is I don't doubt it. How do you go about cleaning and reusing them? Described, described, or another way. I personally feed my old acetone to my pit bulls. I fucking love that jelly texture. I guarantee. Yeah, so that's something. Yeah, I don't. When I was automotive painting, we had big drums of old thinners, and so all the old thinners from the thinners sink and everything would go in these huge drums, and then this company would come a couple of times a month maybe and take these huge drums away. But for small companies like me, I don't know what I'm meant to do with old thinners and shit. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because I use such small amounts of thinners, I'm really just tipping it on rags, but it's not like I ever fill pots with it or anything. But if I ever have any leftover thinners, I just pour it on my concrete floor because I know it's just gonna evaporate. So yeah, that's kind of my method. It's not going to get into the dirt or the soil. It's not going to run down to the ocean. But as far as like, I'll tell you what I do have is a collection of the expanding foam. So that stuff has a shelf life, obviously, and after about a year or so, I can't remember, one of the parts of the two parts, it kind of crystallizes, and it's still liquid, but it's almost like honey when it goes all, it crystallizes, yeah, it's full of sugar, so it's like that, so you can't use it because it's full of hard bits, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to get rid of it, so I've probably got 6 or 7 bottles of this stuff, old stuff that I've just held on to because I don't know how to dispose of it properly. So maybe I should buy a pit bull and just feed it to him or her. I assume it just reads surface moisture. Yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I could probably get a moisture meter. Maybe I'll do a video on it. I know some builders. And I could probably experiment with sort of blocks of EPS, you know? So see how deep. I could even, like, if I had a block of EPS and I wet the bottom side only and then try to read it from the top side of the block to see how far it'll pick moisture up. Yeah, that could be a video idea. I'll look into that. No ventilation in your sanding room. My sheds have more ventilation than I care for. So my sanding shed in particular, the door is always open. So there's that, and those sheds were built as storage sheds originally. They're not really designed for what do you call it, like industrial workplaces. They were just storage sheds, so they are not airtight in the slightest. I have had many battles with birds. I think I even had a video on my channel of me glassing a board and a bird flew in, So the birds get in between the wall and the roller door. Where the roller door rolls up, there's a gap, and birds fly in and out of there, and I've battled with them for years, especially in spring, which we're entering now. I had to cut all the lining out of the ceilings so that they wouldn't nest between the ceiling and kind of this silver foil paper that was there. There is a lot of ventilation in my sanding room, and I also have a really good extraction system via my shop vac. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. I look at some guys shaping and sanding surfboards, and especially those that are sanding surfboards and they're using like a rotating polish sander, and the dust is just insane. And the rooms, you look at the rooms and the floor is thick with fiberglass dust, and the walls, and it's floating around in the air. And yes, they have a respirator on, but if those respirators only capture, let's say 99%, let's be generous, and they filter out 99% of all that dust that sander makes, you're still breathing in dust, I think. I think those sanders are worse than... I would more comfortably use my orbital sander with my shop vac than I would use one of those polish sanders with a respirator. I think I would end up breathing in less dust. Bo, where do you get templates from? Don't know where to get one. About to do a third. But want to try a more trusted template than a homemade one off iShaper. So where to... The benefit of being a ding repairer, man, I have access to a lot of board outlines. So most of my templates have come from customers' boards, and I just make my own. And then the only ones that are an exception to that are an old shaper named Vic. Oh god, you're testing my knowledge. An old shaper named Vic. 3 months ago, he's retired now, but he shaped back in the 70s, from the 70s, 80s, probably stopped early 90s, I think, from memory. He brought me all of his old templates 3 months ago maybe. So I have a fat stack of his templates. I haven't shaped any of them yet. But other than that, yeah, I honestly don't know. I mean, you can buy them. I know places like Greenlight Surf Supply sell templates. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So the first board I ever made, Rimu Emu, was a 7-foot single fin, and I didn't copy a board for that. So I think what I did, and the last board I shaped too, which I might have a photo of. Where would I have a photo of that? Oh, I know where I would have a photo of that. Bear with me. So, yeah, because you can make your own. And if you've made boards before, So we're going to go back to Backyard Surfboard Shapers. I'll plug them once again. If you're on Facebook and you're not a member of the Backyard Surfboard Shapers group, it is the best page on Facebook. But there are some questions to answer when you go to join. And if you don't answer them correctly, like this guy, he has failed to answer the secret question correctly. So we are going to decline his membership request. So when you're answering the questions, answer them right. Let's find this board. So how do I? How do I find my stuff? What I've posted on this page? Spy all, surely. I mean, look, if this is an advertisement for this Facebook page, these are all backyard, well, for the most part, these are all backyard shapers just making amazing boards. It's the coolest page, and there's just, I mean, there's a lot of, there's not actually, I lie, it's pretty well policed of like bullshit. As far as like surfboard making and repairing Facebook pages go, it really is. It's the least offensive one. So this board is the last one I made, Bo. So this was taken, I had a Roger Hall mini Sims come in. So from pretty much this line here to just behind the fins, I would say, maybe a little bit further, that's a Roger Hall mini Sims outline. But I actually don't like mini Sims. I like the concept of them and what they're designed for, but I don't like the look of them. I don't like the design of them. I've never seen a mini Sims and thought, oh, I want to surf that, you know. It's just they've never done it for me. So this is my nose that I freehanded basically. I used some other templates to sort of rough guide it, and then I tweaked it by hand from there. And this is my tail, which I don't know if there's a better photo of it. Not really. You can see it looks, it's a double diamond. So it comes down like this, and then it kinks in, and then it kinks in again. And that was actually the tail I did on my first ever surfboard, Remu Emu. So that tail was completely made up. Me and a buddy were in his shed eating desserts, I think some brownies of some description, and we thought about diamond tails, and then we were thinking double diamonds, and then yeah, it turned into a knight, that one. But yeah, so I would go, if this is the third board that you're making, I would maybe go with an outline of an existing board, but tweak the tail and the nose into something you like. And whether you use other templates or you kind of freehand that, you only have to design one side, yeah, and then you mirror image it on the blank. So yeah, and then you're on your way to sort of creating your own templates, because only a portion of it is somebody else's, and so then you might tweak that template again. The next one of these I make, I'll probably tweak again. The tail specifically, I'll probably accentuate that double diamond, DDT, double diamond trifecta we called it. So yeah, I'll probably accentuate that, so it'll change again. So that's my advice, Bo. Is Roy Stewart still making timber boards in New Zealand? Lazy question from me, as I could probably Google it. Just remembered his name from the Old Magic Seaweed forums. I saw a thing on him the other day, because I was stealing videos off YouTube to loop on the TV in Shapers Collective, and he came up. I don't know. I'm going to say I don't know. I don't think so. He hasn't come up in my search for New Zealand Shapers. I haven't been in touch with him, and I've been in touch with as many active Shapers as I could find. So yeah, I'm going to say no. But I'm not certain of that. Bo was thinking of doing something like that. I have a good shortboard, so I might do that and tweak the nose and the tail. Thanks for the advice. Yeah, let me know how you go. I think that's the way to do it, yeah. And then, man, you could get really techie on all that, because once you have that nose and tail, you can always cut those. You don't. All of my templates are like full length, nose to tail. But once you've drawn your nose and your tail, you can cut this whole middle section out and get rid of it, and then you've got that nose and that tail for all kinds of different outlines. Yeah. Oh, ventilation. That's how all that started. My shed's so full of holes. If anything, I want less ventilation. I had to buy a new vacuum, so just before I went to Aussie, I blew the old one up. I was sanding, and I could smell like burning electrics. And I went next door to the mechanics, because I thought I share a wall with the mechanics. They're on the other side of the wall. So I went over there, and I was like, something burning? Like, have you blown something up? And they're like, no, I can smell it too. And kept sanding for the rest of the day. No issues. Always smelling like hot electricity kind of thing. And then came back in the next day and went to use my vacuum, and toast. All done. Gonski. So I cooked my vacuum. So then the last 2 or 3 days of work before I went away, I used this tiny little Azito shop vac, hoping I didn't blow that one up. So then, not yesterday, the day before, I went and bought a new vacuum, which is so high tech, I had to ring the helpline to work out how to use it. It had all these buttons, and it's doing all these beeping and flashing and stuff. And then I've had a vacuum before that shakes. It has like a filter vibrate, so every now and then it would taka shake the filter to rattle dust out of it. Helps preserve the filter for longer. But this one doesn't do that. It's on like a spring-loaded thing, so every 30 seconds or so you just hear this big doof from the vacuum, like one big heavy thud. It sounds like the thing's fallen over or something. So I had to ring the helpline to ask, like, is that normal? And yeah, but it's a pretty grunty vac. Shavers Collective, love the concept. Cheers, dude. Unpopular opinion here, but the movie The Big Lebowski, never rated it. I think it's one of the most overrated movies in my mind. That'll be controversial. 1553. Can his girlfriend come and give it a woman's touch? 1553. See, this is what happens. People put timestamps. Oh no, that's not going to work. I'm going to leave that one because I have to go back and watch the video, and the sound isn't set up for watching. Oh no, I guess it is. Hold on. We can do that. Curiosity's gotten the better of me. What did you say? 1553. And what's my channel called? So I haven't even spoken about my trip either, but if I mute this, I had a really good surf on that trip that I keep thinking about as well. Where is it? There. 1553. What happens? Ads happen, that's what I reckon. Yep, called it. So one of the tests with this live stream thing is going to be my internet connection, because I'm not actually in the house here. I'm in a sleep out in the backyard. So it'll be interesting to see how consistent the internet is, because I'm on Wi-Fi at the moment. But I might have to do like a direct thing. 1553. Now I can't remember what the comment said. What did the comment say? 1553. Can his girlfriend come and give it a woman's touch? Oh, you're talking about like the layout of the... Yeah, yeah, ideally, she's in England. Selfishly. So, no. But maybe when she's back on Thursday. She'll want to put plants in there. I know. She's obsessed with house plants. She is the cat's mother. Legend by Kiwi, and we've got it made. Taranaki Frother. Good guy. Hello. I do realise that this video is over a yes old, guessing that's a year, but I'm wondering what of each of the compounds you use on the board are called. Materials, I guess. So that is the first video I ever made on the YouTube channel. So that is an old one, but the most watched video. People love it. So what did I use in that? I used info on all the materials on my channel, but short list. We used 56 kg expanding PU foam. I tell you who's not here at night answering YouTube comments constantly. Rogue Wave Ding Repairs. Man, sometimes I flick through his comments and there's so many questions there. I'm like, man, answer these people. They've got questions. What else do we use? Laminating poly resin. Sanding. Poly resin. Micro balloons. That's not how you spell balloons. Oh, actually, I'm gonna tag them. I don't think I can. Shame. Molotov paints. Polish. That's basically it. Yeah? Sure. I love the Shapers Collective idea. Sorry, I'm ignoring you, Bo. One other question. How much do you charge to glass a 5-6 shortboard? Just wanting reference for the glasses near me. That is a very good question. I would have to look at my book. What country are you in? That's probably going to dictate it as well. I'm trying to think. This one's 5'8", and if you brought me a blank shaped in your backyard, I'm going to tell you that's going to cost $500 minimum, and that depends how well you've shaped it. If your tail has like hard edges left on it and all this like sharp edges on your stringer ends and that type of stuff, it could be more. And then tinting, painting, all that stuff. But yeah, I'd say, oh, you're in Australia. Yeah, I'd say 500. Safe with that number. In New Zealand, anyway. It probably also depends, though, on where you're located, like how many options you have of glasses, because then they're all kind of fighting and competing amongst themselves, in theory, so it might be cheaper. Whereabouts in Australia are you, Bo? out of curiosity. I love the Shapers Collective idea, bro. It's so great that you're helping to promote local Shapers. Sounds like you really thought this through. Definitely do the Shapers vlog. That would be sick. So that's one thing with the Shapers Collective that I mentioned in that last video is, in theory, once you get Shapers in there, then you can do interviews with them. We could set up kind of like a podcast setup in the shop, get some more microphones and that kind of stuff. I really would like one day, one of the big benefits of Shapers Collective being at my workplace is there's a shaping bay, a sanding shed and a glassing shed, and a showroom to sell the board from. So if you're a shaper on the South Island, for instance, you can come up to Mungify on the North Island for a week or two. It's a tax deductible holiday. You just come and shape a couple of boards. The whole setup is there, everything you need. If you want to bring your own planers and stuff, you can. But yeah, it's a good excuse for shapers to kind of travel the country and make boards elsewhere, and then while doing that, I could make YouTube videos on them and interviews with them, and we can take photos, and there just seems to be a lot of possibility with having a setup like that. So I'm excited for that, and also for me, I'm by no means a good shaper. I'm definitely a ding repairer, and I'm still learning every board I shape, trying to make them. I try and make one thing better on every board. So this board, I'm going to make the rails specifically better, or the dome of the deck, or the concave, or the channel. I try and focus really hard on one element. So to watch other shapers shape, I think would be amazing for me as well, to see how people far better than myself do it. Would be great. Great, pardon me. Sydney. Heaps of glasses. Yeah, okay, so yeah, 300 to 450, and then that's 450 probably is 500 New Zealand dollars anyway. So yeah, not far off the mark. The better you shape the board, the easier it's going to be for the glasser, and the less it'll cost. So definitely little things like that hard edge by the tail. After you've shaped it, just run your thumbnail along it and round it off. They'll do all that in the glassing. And the one that kills me the most is stringer ends on the nose and the tail. When they're not rounded, they're really sharp. Because as a glasser, I don't want to be faffing around rounding people's stringer ends off, because I could gouge the foam and it's just a risk. So yeah, things like that, proud stringers. The better you shape the board, the cheaper it'll be. And don't put like 700 channels in it. Or do. But yeah, that'll cost more for sure. Zag surfboard. Oh, there's a whole conversation going on here. Alright. Oh, here we go. DMAC. As far as the acetone in the buckets, this may sound like a stupid question, but doesn't the acetone evaporate out of the containers, constantly requiring it to be filled? I've set the brushes in acetone and come back to find it empty in the brush, and the brush trashed. Zag Surfboards, who is the power that be on the Backyard Surfboard Shapers Facebook page. If you're not a member of the Backyard Surfboard Shapers page, you should be. It's the best Facebook page on Facebook. Zag says, yes, correct, I rinse in dirty acetone, clean in another bucket, then store in acetone in a sealed airtight container. There we go. DMAC says, so you have two open containers you constantly have to fill, and then the sealed one you leave the brush in overnight and keep it sealed. No, I have my dirty acetone, which is an old empty resin pail that I pour all of my dirty acetone into. That has its lid and rubber seal, not positively sealed, but just the lid sitting on top of the pail without its clamp. So it's just like dummy sat, I guess. I lift the lid and scrub the brushes against the side of the pail in the dirty acetone. I have a container which I put a small amount of clean acetone into, second clean and rinse. This acetone ends up in the previously mentioned pail afterwards. Then I have a sealed container I store my brushes in. Bristles down with clean acetone. Occasionally I empty and refill with fresh acetone. I have brushes lasting years. Squeegees. I usually put in a shallow amount of clean acetone in a big enough container. The squeegee is submerged flat. Then grab paper towel, one piece half soaked in acetone, another dry clean piece. Use the acetone piece to clean while holding with the other so you're not transferring sticky fingers everywhere. Alright, did you get that? So, I think the way I would do it is with my dirty thinners, acetone, and this is only how I imagine it going. Like I say, I haven't practiced what I'm preaching, but the way I would do it would be my dirty thinners tub. It's going to end up as jelly anyway, but ice cream containers come with lids, so I would rinse the brush off in it as best as can, drain all the resin out of the brush as best I can, and then put the lid back on. And then I move to my second container, take the lid off of that, and then that's my medium thinners. So clean, scrub the brush in there. It's going to be a little bit dirty, but not as bad as that first container. Once I've done that, put the lid back on that. And then my third one, it might not actually be a ice cream container. It could be, but I would probably actually use a glass jar with like a mason lid. So I would have in my glass jar about that much acetone in the bottom of it. This is my clean thinners. So then when I get to there, I would just drop the brush in the jar, put the lid on, and it would live in that jar with only the bristles in the acetone until you're waiting for your next use. That'd be how I do it. So when I said in that video that use ice cream containers, or that's what was suggested to me, I don't know if that was literal when he told me that's how he does it. This was Roger Hall's painter and glasser, sander, more so, Reese, told me this. So, yeah, I would use a mason jar for that last one, and then I can seal it up. It's not going to evaporate. And then the two in the ice cream containers don't really matter because they're old and dirty anyway. So if they eventually evaporate because ice cream containers aren't perfectly sealed, then that's fine. I'm not going to reply to that. I will, but later. Thanks, love the red rocket. Again, what I need to know as for the dragon spray paint. Oh, yes, okay. So this guy's working on a board and there's a big dragon on the bottom. The Welsh flag, I believe. Bow. I've glassed my first 2 boards, but it took me 4 to 5 days to do it. So we'll try. Wanted to get someone else to do it. Yeah, I was in that camp too with my first boards. I did my first board, I shaped it and I really wasn't keen to glass it because I made it through the shaping process without fucking it all up. So I thought, well, why roll the dice again? Let's get someone else to glass it. And when I went to my nearest shaper and asked how much would you charge me, he was going to charge me a lot more than I would charge today. So I had no choice really but to glass the board, and I'm glad I did, because glassing does take practice. And I think if he had been affordable and I had paid him to glass my first board, I may have never glassed a board because I would have just gone to him. So convenient to do it, so why would I do it? So yeah, and 4 to 5 days to glass a board is not That's pretty standard. I mean, a poly, I can... What's the fastest I've ever had a board finished is maybe 3 days. Maybe. And that would be poly. But yeah, if you're working with epoxy, it's definitely going to be 4 or 5 days. And even with poly, I'm generally putting 1 layer of glass on a day. And then once I get to like resin coating stages, I'll do both sides per day. So yeah, I think 4 to 5 days is pretty standard. But you do you, man. If you can afford it and they're good glasses and affordable, then yeah. The less time you spend glassing, the more time you can spend shaping. So that was 2 weeks ago, so I wonder how that board's going. This guy's a classic. He sent me a photo of the board he was working on Instagram messages, and he literally had it sitting. His ironing board in his lounge room was upside down, so he had the board sitting in the upside down legs of the ironing board. It made me laugh. I've been away for 2 weeks. Great idea to honour local shapers. It makes so much sense in parallel with your workshop. I think so. Thanks a lot for the brushes tips. I do have the same question about acetone evaporation. Do you cover your pots? Thanks for all. Always a treat to find a new video. Merci from France. Yeah, so a few people asked about the evaporation, I think. So this might be a copy and paste answer, this one. Lives over the pots when you are not using them. And thinking about it more, I might be more inclined to use a glass mason jar with acetone in it to store the brush in the end. With a good sealable lid. Shaka. Can anyone tell me why this happens? So when I type laugh, for instance, I can just press the laughing emoji, it turns the word into the laughing emoji. But when I press shaka, or when I type shaka, all I get is the word shaka. Oh wait, no, yeah. See, and then I have to go back and delete the word, keep the emoji. It's very time consuming. I had no idea about this. I fixed my own dings. Now this changes everything. Thank you. A few people have said that to me. One guy even, he made me feel a bit bad because he was saying, I was thinking about all the boards I've fixed over the years and I've filled these huge holes with resin and Q-cell, and now I know they're out there somewhere with bits of resin and Q-cell rattling around in them like a rain stick. I felt a bit stink. Oh, this is an old one too. FCS plugs. Thanks for this. I was happy to find a repair that didn't bore all the way to the deck. I really didn't want to do that. So those FCS plugs should be H-patterned all the way to the fiberglass on the deck side of the board. What I did do though was remove a small circle of foam right underneath the glass. I saw it as an option on FCS's install manual and figured that might add a bit more strength. I'm doing this for canard plugs anyway, so I figured I could get away with not going all the way to the deck. What I did do though was remove a small circle of foam right underneath the glass. I don't know what that means. So he didn't do the H pattern from the underside of the board to the deck side of the board. So if he's removed a small circle of foam underneath the glass, it must be on the underside of the board. I'm going to leave that one for now. I need to think about that one. How are we going here? We've got to think. Oh, look at this, guys. We got, I believe, maybe there's 5 of you. I think that's maybe what that means. And maybe 35 people have been here in total. That's what I'm thinking that all means. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one. Oh, this was mention your favourite surfboard shaper at the end. So Warren Wilson here reckons Bunga surfboards, Long Island, New York, USA. Let's try it. Bunga surfboards, Long Island. Long Island, New Zealand. Bunga Surf Shop. Is that it? Oh, I've been blocked. Why have I been blocked? I'm like, Jesus, I'm not trying to attack you, mate. Alright, well, shout out to Bunga Surfboards. Surf Shop, custom surfboards. Let's try this link. No, doesn't like me. What the hell? Jesus, Bunga. What gives? I'll probably forget, but I'll try to remember. Could you use white resin tint in the mixture of the expansive foam? No, you can't, Sebastian. So I've tried, and that would be ideal. So you can't make the foam any lighter. I can't anyway. I've tried a few different methods, shy of using something like bleach to like suck all the colour out of it. I've successfully tinted the foam red, orange, blue, green, but all darker shades than its original brown colour. But you can't remove colour from it. And so anything you add to this is just going to make it darker. And adding white, you just end up with a really dirty white. Really, which is basically what that is anyway. Slightly less yellow, but still not white. Third Earth. The hurricane swell from Florida just started filling in, so I have to take off. Thanks for sharing your wisdom with all of us. Much appreciated, brother. Thank you for joining, and thank you for being a member, man. Have a good surf. Exciting. I'll check out the webcams. Tell me a spot to look on Surfline webcams in your area, and I'll have a watch. Choo! Any tips on making your own fins, bro? Laps of New Zealand. FCS, yes. I've discovered the best hack for making fins, and I used to hate making fins. I never liked it. It's always worth it in the end, but it's so messy and so tricky and just loud and dirty and horrible. But I fixed all that, so the way I did it, I'll show you. I'm guessing, seeing as your name is Laps of New Zealand, you are in New Zealand. So I found Pineline fins in Papamoa, and so now I'm having him make all my fins for me. He's great, man. He's so good. He has so many templates. He's doing everything, and his prices are, in my humble opinion, and don't tell him I said this, but too cheap, because he's basically charging the same as FCS or Futures, but he's hand foiling all of these things. Like, this is all handmade goods, you know? He's not putting these in molds and all that stuff. So yeah, that's my tip on making fins. But aside from calling, God, I've forgotten his name. I want to say Nathan. I'm terrible with names. Aside from calling Pineline and ordering some fins. Oh, did I get it? Tips for making fins. What would be my tip? Do it slowly, I think, is probably... My biggest problem with fins is it takes so long to cut out all your panels of glass and lay them all up and wait for your panel to cure and then add your resin, your sanding resin to it, and then draw your template on and then cut it out. Holy moly, it's difficult. That by the time I get to the foiling stage, I just want it done with, and so I have a tendency to rush that stage. So I would give yourself... My problem with fins is I always have a deadline. It's for a customer's board, or it's for a board that I've shaped. So I'm like, I want to get it done by Friday. But I would say if you want to make a fin, give yourself no deadline at all, and do like a stage a day, say. And if you're not in a rush, then you can take your time and foil one side at a time or something like that. And it's probably a much more enjoyable experience that way. I wouldn't say don't. Like I say, it's always worth it in the end. Once you've got it and it's all polished up and you hold it up to a light and you see through it, you can see all the layers of glass, it's cool. But it's very dusty and dirty, and I'm just not well set up for it. I know guys like Pineline, they're basically working over a... You imagine like a big laundry sink, but the bottom of the sink is a metal grate with an extraction fan. So they're foiling on like a clamp over that sink, so it's sucking all the dust down, which I don't have. So I have no way of extracting dust from like a Dremel or my my polish sander. So it's just really messy, dusty, can be itchy. I did a fin not long ago where I used chop strand in the layer because it was for an older board, and that stuff's super itchy. So yeah, I wouldn't say don't do it, but take your time with it. Do a stage at a day, a stage at a time, and don't give yourself a deadline for it. Just enjoy the experience, I guess. Actually, I can give you one tip that I've found anyway. So once your panel's laid up, then your panel's laid up of glass, you draw your template on, and then you need to cut it out, yeah? So I used to use the jigsaw, which is nice because it makes kind of like a nice square edge, but it burns through jigsaw blades like crazy. So I've started using the Dremel, and the Dremel cuts it much quicker. You'll get through it much quicker, but because of the shape of the Dremel handle, this probably isn't a great example, but you've got your little cutting wheel on it, and because of how fat the handle is, you can't really cut it square. So then you you need to make your outline square before you can start foiling it. So keep that in mind. If you buy extra jigsaw blades, then you'll have less sanding to do at the end. If you use a Dremel, it's a lot dustier, it's quicker, but you will have more sanding to do at the end, and you'll have to square those edges up, which can be time consuming to get them perfect, or as close to. Any tinting I have done to this phone? Any successful? Tinting I have done to this foam. Always been colours that are darker. Pleasure, man. Good luck with it, and you might love it. Yeah, I mean, you look at the results at the end. Yeah, you'll love it. It's a good thing to learn how to do. Just tuned in here in Cornwall, UK. Fresh IYT. Fresh out? I had the sing room at Karma Surfers. Fresh. Oh, Paul, you deleted it, mate. I was getting through it. I would have made it. Foam has always been colours that are darker than the original. In order to make this, I know that feeling, Paul. Every time I ride on a phone, in order to make this phone white, I feel like bleach it, removing colour, not adding colour. If that makes sense. No, sadly, or not that I've found. Any successful tinting I've done to this foam has always been colours that are darker than the original. In order to make this foam white, I feel like you'd have to bleach it, removing colour, not adding colour, if that makes sense. Makes sense in my head. Fresh out of the ding room at Karma Surfboards. Oh, there you go, Paul. In Cornwall, you said. I've never been to Cornwall, but I would like to go to Cornwall. Have I heard of Karma Surfboards? Surely I have. I know quite a few shapers around that area that I've looked at. Is your website going to block me? Is this going to be an ongoing trend? Because we just tried to look up Bunyip or whoever he was and they wouldn't have me. Is this you? Looks it. English. Contact. Nope, that's in Spain. That is not you. So I'd send them a cease and desist. Cornwall. Karma. Got an Instagram. Let's have a look at that. Oh, Newquay. That was it, wasn't it? There we go. Karma Surf Shop UK. Am I on the right track? Nope. What? Wait, what's this one all about? I'm not having much luck. Newquay, England? Is that you? Give me a website or an Instagram. Oh, that one. There we go. Where's your website? There. I like the colour scheme on the outside of the shop. So if you're in Cornwall, do you know anything about the Shapers Collective in England? I did look at them. Oh, that's cool. How's the masking on that, bro? Wow. How long did it take to paint that? That is so. That board I finished recently with it was like the chess board. Actually, the members have seen it in the members videos. Other YouTube people who aren't members, they might not have seen it, but it's somewhere. Anyway, I finished a chessboard recently, and I thought about doing this, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. That's so gnarly, bro. Crazy. Wow. Unreal. Oh, look at that one as well. Wow, that's super MR, like screams MR. Very cool. Nice tail too. I like that super sharp, pointy tail. There you go. That's a classic. Look at that thing. Well, another one to add to the list. R. Did you know you can change your Facebook to pirate talk? So you get like manifest, reports to consider, portraits, all that. Yeah, it's cool. Do that if you haven't already. Nice one. Karma Surfboards. Nick Williams, is he the painter? Hey, I've started shaping and doing some ding repairs for friends a few months ago, and your channel really helps. Thanks for that. My pleasure, James. Stoked to hear it, and good on you. Hope it's going well. What have we got? Amazing knowledge given freely. Nope. Your invoice is in the mail. People don't know. Winky face? How's that one? Yeah, we'll give him a wink. Hey, cool. How makes those smaller fins? Oh, the twins are canards. So Pineline, who we were looking at just before, in Papamoa, has been making my canards. I've made canards before, and they're the pits. At least with like a longboard fin, you got a big working area to get, and you can eyeball it. Little canards, man, they're very tedious. So stoked to find him. Fins. Papamoa. What am I doing? New Zealand. Thanks for the plug. Yes, Nick is a genius with the colours. Yeah, a lot of those guys, does he have like an automotive painting background? Or did he start with surfboards? Because I see a lot of surfboard painters in factories, and a lot of them I kind of get the feeling they started as automotive painters. Cooper, do I surf often? Not often enough. Bah. I surf every chance I get, but on the east coast of New Zealand that can be pretty sporadic. So we might not get a swell for a month or two, and then we might get 3 months of consistent swell, and that might vary from ankle height to head height. Who knows? But I surfed, the last surf I had was in Oz, Kangaroo Island, last week. I had a really good surf over there. And then it looks like there's some swell heading this way next week. Quite a decent swell, actually. So, yeah, every chance I get. But, man, the other thing, too, is, like, the dream with starting your own business and being a ding repairer is you get to skive off and surf whenever you want. Yeah, but it doesn't always work like that, sadly. And, yeah, Quite often I get out of the surf and it's just missed calls after missed calls on my phone of people who want their boards back so they can go and surf. But as John from Ding Fixers once said to me, you didn't ding your board, so you go and surf. So yeah, I'd like to surf more. I surf reasonably often. Paul, thanks for the plug. Yes, Nick is a genius. Cooper, do you have any tips on progressing from a high beginner to an intermediate in surfing? No. I'm probably not a good enough surfer to give surfing advice other than just surf more. That's really, as far as I know, the only way to get better at surfing really is to surf. And all that cross-training and stuff and all the stuff you see on Instagram, it's good to keep like your fitness up, paddle fitness and stuff, but nothing will help surfing like surfing. And whatever you do, don't buy a surf skate. Skateboard. Buy a skateboard. Go skate some bowls or some pools. That'll help for sure. But yeah, nothing will help quite like surfing. James, one thing I realised in the past month is that the Shaper community is gatekeeping a lot. You did it too in the expanding foam video when you didn't want to tell the supplier. Yes and no. There is some gatekeeping for sure. The reason I didn't want to tell my supplier for the foam is because if I was buying like a brand of foam, I could tell you the brand, like Molotov paint, for instance. That's the paint I use. They're a brand. I'm happy to say I use the brand Molotov. My supplier isn't a brand. He's a really low, small, backyard kind of supplier. It doesn't have a name that I could give you. The only way I could tell you where I get my foam is to give you this guy's personal email address or his phone number. So he's a taxidermist and he sources foam from somewhere in the world for his own purposes, and he supplies other taxidermists within New Zealand, but he is not a foam company. So it's because he's bringing the foam in, it's highly likely that if I handed over his personal email or phone number to YouTube, one, he'd probably get a little bit miffed with me, and two, it's likely that he would run out of foam. He couldn't supply everybody, and I can't afford not to have foam. So I think when it comes to that, like things like resin and sandpaper and masking tape, all those things, I'm happy to tell you where it comes from and what brands I use. But yeah, the foam's a little bit different because it's not a brand and I'm not buying it from a shop front, so to speak. Hope that makes sense. I will say though, James, I think the gatekeeping is getting less with pages like, if you are on Facebook, there's a Facebook page called the Backyard Surfboard Shapers or Backyard Surfboard Shapers, and with pages like that and more people getting into backyard shaping, I think the gatekeeping is becoming less and less and less. And of all the shapers I rang for Shapers Collective, I've contacted almost 80 of them, maybe 80 of them for Shapers Collective around New Zealand, and almost every single one of them that I've rung, never spoken to most of these people before, and we've all ended up talking for an hour plus on the phone, first phone call, because me as well, was just genuinely excited to like talk to another shaper. I hesitate to call myself a shaper, but someone who works with surfboards. And so yeah, I think it's getting less, and I think it will disappear. Things like YouTube help that as well, and Facebook and all the rest. Cooper, I surf wave faces, but a lot of the times when I go to pop up, I get my feet on the board, but sometimes my board goes flying out underneath me after I plant my feet on the board. Like I said, I'm not probably not the best guy to ask for the advice, but the only thing I could think of, if the board is flying out from underneath you, I would say your balance is probably off. So you're popping up, leaning a little bit too far back, and it's shooting the board forward. Or maybe you're leaning too far forward and slightly on a rail, and it's kind of pushing the board out. So you sort of want to work on that skateboard stance, I guess, of being like centered over the board and ready to go with it, not ready for it to leave you behind or you leave it behind, if that makes sense. But I am not a surf coach, and you're from the southwest of Australia. Unreal. Beautiful part of the world down there. Have you been to South Africa? Do you know lots of South Africans? Or do you know lots? No. I have never been. I would like to go. I have two, well, I guess not anymore, but I had two good friends who were from South Africa in my downhill skating days. And one of them was one of the most racist people. In fact, he was the most racist person I've ever met in my life. But he was great to travel with, aside from the just outrageous racism, and a nice enough guy and very generous. And the other one was one of the gentlest, kindest people I've ever met, I think. And yeah, so yeah, I would like to go to South Africa, and I've never had a bad experience with a South African. I surf green waves now. Well, that's good. There you go. Just practice, man. Cooper, wherever you are. Sorry, I'm struggling to scroll this thing. Yeah, just practice. Surf more and more and more. Yeah, I got you surfing green waves, Cooper. Not whitewash. It sounds like your balance is just slightly off when you're popping up, which is, well, it happens to the best of us, mate. James, I mean, videos like yours help a lot in general, but there is so much knowledge out there, but most shapers rather see the other shaper do the same mistakes as they did before. Yeah, I think that's been the trend. I think it will change, though, and yeah, I'm jokes aside, because I've mentioned it 300 times, but if you're in the Backyard Surfboard Shapers Facebook page, you won't see much of that. You can ask pretty much any question in there and it'll be answered, and not everybody in there is a third board backyarder. Some of those people have made hundreds to thousands of boards, so there's some really solid advice in there. And I personally have avoided a lot of mistakes because of that Facebook page. Who else we got? Paul. Oh, Dave is the owner and shaper. Nick went straight in with surfboards. Oh, okay. Learned his trade in SA? South Africa, I'm guessing, not South Australia. He used to surf on the tour in the 80s. Oh, unreal. I will look into him. How much to glass this? We Are Memories says, and well, $1 million, I'm going to say. Dane Olsen, how many boards do you generally fix a week? Depends on the season. In winter, especially this winter has been my worst winter ever. I probably couldn't give you a consistent number in winter because it seems to change every year. But in summer, when it's really busy here, we're quite a seasonal town, it's at least one a day. It could be 2 or 3 a day. Yeah, it kind of depends on the swell a little bit. Things really take off here after Christmas. It starts to ramp up before, but once Christmas is out of the way, then everyone comes up for New Year's and the holidays. So then it's bedlam. So yeah, it varies. Where I live is very seasonal, and it's been a bit of a problem I've had with my business is trying to forecast my earnings by season, especially as like, what can I expect? What do I need to save in the summer to survive the winter? Last winter was my busiest winter ever, as busy as the summer easily, and I was away in Hawaii for a month of that, and it was still my busiest winter ever. And so I kind of thought, like, well, that's it. The trend is happening. And then this winter it got scary for a little bit there. It really did. It was dead. So yeah, in the summer it's much busier than the winter. Or Cooper, you use a surf skate, mate. What you got to do is rip those trucks off, put some skateboard trucks on there, and that will improve your surfing drastically. I'm not a fan of surf skates at all, and I think if you want to learn how to pump, there's a way to pump correctly, and there's a way to learn to pump correctly, and I think surf skates teach you how to pump incorrectly. They're also incredibly limited on what you can do, which also hinders that learning curve as well. I do have dreams of making a video just shitting all over surf skates, but maybe one day when I run out of boards to fix. Skateboards for the win. Carvers are gimmicks. They really are. Those surf skates, I think they've targeted middle-aged yoga mums and insurance brokers, and they've really tricked them into thinking that there's a new invention that will help with surfing. But skateboarding has everything covered, whether you want to skate downhill or a park or a pool or slalom or off-road or cruise, whatever you want to do. Every discipline of skateboard has been built. The technology is there. The best equipment for that terrain exists, and the surf skate hasn't added anything to that world at all other than difficulty, I think. So test number 4 with the live stream, I've just turned the heater on. So if it's annoying on the audio, let me know, and I'll suffer in silence. What's wrong with surf skates, and is it not like 2:45 a.m? It is 2 a.m. Yes, it is late, but I am a night owl. Dane Olsen, also welcome to show me some repair tips and have free accommodation. 1 hour 45 from J Bay. That would be unreal, Dane. I would love to go to J Bay. My neighbour here, his mum, they come from there, South Africa, and he grew up on J Bay, and his mum was the manager of, I can't remember the name of the street, but there's like the street that overlooks J Bay, and so she managed all of the accommodation, all the surf houses, the backpackers. There was a ding repair guy in her backyard who, like, he lived in the hostel, I think, but he did ding repairs as part of, like, he worked at the hostel doing ding repairs, and she managed that whole street before it was all taken over by Billabong and Quicksilver and Rip Curl and all those really big name companies. 3 p.m. in the UK, yeah, so you're 11 hours behind us. Welcome to the future. It's cold. That's about it. What makes normal skateboards better for surfing than surf skates? So this could be a whole rabbit hole, but I'll try not to go down it. The benefit skateboards have to surfing is that you're learning to pump and carve lines. That's kind of there's other things too, like slash grinds and things, but the general concept is skateboards will allow you to pump and carve lines. The way you learn to pump generally on a skateboard is by going forwards and backwards in transition, like a mini ramp, And once you can build speed on your own and you have that timing and that pumping, then you can pump any bank, transition, anything you want. You can pump it on a skateboard using kind of an up-down motion, the same as when you're surfing along a wave. You're not surfing side to side like that. You're coming up and down at the knees. And skateboarding is exactly the same, especially in pools and bowls. But anything, doesn't matter. Banks are the same. So surf skates are incredibly hard to roll backwards. So it's really hard to learn the basics of pumping to begin with, because that's where everyone starts learning pumping on a skateboard. So people are learning to pump on a surf skate by wiggling side to side, not by using their knees in an up and down motion, which is what will generate speed on both a skateboard and a surfboard. So that's the short answer. But then also they're just insanely limited of... I don't know if you've ever seen slalom skateboarding, but do yourself a favor one day and go down the rabbit hole of high level slalom skateboarding. And these dudes are doing like 80 k's an hour down a hill, weaving cones at insane speeds. And these technologies for these skateboards have been around for a long time. They're heavily dialed in. They're really good. And surf skates kind of came along with a subpar version of a slalom board that's more difficult to ride and sort of targeted towards surfers, strangely. So yeah, there's definitely a video to be made on surf skates for sure. Which part of NZ am I from? I'm actually from Kangaroo Island, Cooper, so I'm probably not that far away from you, but I live in Mangawhai, which is on the North Island of New Zealand. What do we got here? Next comment. Great vid. I've just adopted an old 8-foot PU board that will need a lot of love to get her back to health again. It has a large area where it is delaminated on the deck, so I wanted to know what you used to fill the void before repositioning the old glass. It looked different to micro balloon filler. So that would have been expanding foam. Guessing his name is Tony or Ton. I use an expanding PU foam at a 56 kg density. The micro balloon filler that I used afterwards was just to fill pinholes in that foam. I do have a video on the foam on my channel. Shaka. Maybe I should just write Shaka from now on. I remember watching this video when I started. Oh, this was my review of Rogue Wave surfboard repairs video. Probably my most underrated video, I think. When I started the restoration of my old board. Thank fudge, I also came across your videos too. Stoked. Seeing images. This was way better than the Baywatch board video. I enjoyed watching you work on it. I do have a question. Why did you add another coating of fiberglass to the board? Doing so seems like it would make the board so heavy that you can't ride it because it would be too heavy and slow. Is this board only for display and not surfing? Good question. So with the restorations and this one in particular, I always use 2-ounce fiberglass. So it's very lightweight, thin, and it doesn't add a lot of weight. In total to that board, I added 4 ounces of glass, 2 ounces top, 2 ounces bottom, and then the new fin and the resin coats as well. So they do always come out heavier than they were when they came in, but not so heavy that they would be unsurfable. I mean, you think of what guys used to surf back in the day, or what people still surf today. It's heavy for a PU board, but it's certainly not the heaviest board you'll ever come across. I've seen heavier boards come in that are like backyard shapes, like first or second boards made from people, and they've come out heavier just because the person was new to glassing. And those boards are still surfable. As a wise man once said, everything surfs, it just surfs different. Pardon me. So I used a 2-ounce cloth on either side. So we added 4 ounce total. Plus the fin, plus the resin coats. Well, the board is not on the light side. Certainly not so heavy that it can't be surfed. I actually like heavy boards. I don't know what people's obsession is with light boards. People are much better surfers than me, so that's probably something to do with it. But around here, we don't really get like Maldives type waves, you know, where it's super glassy and like super light offshores rather, or onshores even. It's strong in either direction. So our water's always got chop to it. It's not always choppy, but it's always got some lumps and some bumps, and quite often it is choppy as well. And so I find with a heavier board, it's just going to ride through that chop better than if you've got a light board which isn't going to go through the chop. It's going to kind of like skip like a stone off the chop. But maybe somewhere like the Maldives, I would much prefer a super lightweight board. But around here, I'm not anti-heavy board. I don't think my boards are heavy at all, but I mean, they're not a stringerless EPS, you know. But something like this is, or that even, I don't really go for super lightweight. Modern. Can you guys... I'm guessing... Yeah, you can. Okay. I've had modern backyard shapes come in for repair. They're way more... like this one. Turns out. That said, this board will probably only be surfed once and then live life on the wall. Just curious what kind of foam did you use? Oh, that was for I made my partner a surfboard, and then I took it surfing, and I put my knees. I like did a floater in the shore break, and the board like folded, and I landed with a knee on each rail and put these two huge holes in the rails. So, but being a white board and with a brand new board with a paint job, I didn't use the expanding foam. I used offcuts from an old board. Just curious, what kind of foam did you use? This was PU foam from an old snapped board. Hi, I love your work. I was wondering if you could do a video on all the different ways surfboards are coloured and how to repair them, i.e. under the glass, above the glass, and resin tints. I get confused when repairing boards, where to put the colour, and worry about adhesion if it's under the glass. Anyway, just a thought. Thanks for all the videos. Yes, that could be a good idea for a video. I kind of have them, but they're separated. Like PU is separate from epoxy. I haven't really done much on tints, but I don't really use tint. I really only use paint. It's pretty rare that I break out resin tints for repairs. So yes, I could do that, and people do get confused with when you can put paint under the glass and when you can't, and yeah, adhesion issues. I get asked that question a lot. I actually had 2 people message me on Instagram today asking about if I paint under the glass, will the glass still adhere? So yes, Hugh, I will do a video on that. Yeah, that's kind of the benefit of this live stream thing as well, is that's possibly a subject that I could do in this kind of format, and I can pull up videos that I've already made, but we can sort of watch portions of it together and tie them into one video, and then I can edit that live stream at the end and sort of make a video out of it. To the list. Don't let me forget that. Sorry. Yep. Nice one. Oh, that was weird. That one came up straight away and I didn't have to... Oh, why is it yaw now? Man, shakas are difficult. Thank you very much for this video. Could you please share what kind of grinder you're using? I'm currently hesitating between eccentric and a rotative one. Oh, Logan K. So mine's Orbital. I'm using an Orbital sander, 125 diameter. Sharkers. You know, it'd be smart if I copy the Sharker. Now I can just paste it. How's that? Excellent. 200. I'm guessing he's guessing the price of that board, and I can't remember how much that board cost, but I'm guessing it was about that. So I'm gonna like it and move on. Matt Andrews, 808. This was the Twinser video when I turned this board into a Twinser, originally a fish. Great content, I enjoy your storytelling. I watched this vid this morning on Twinsers, and the fin explanation is eye-opening. I'm looking forward to giving one a go. Cheers, bro. Manny Caro of Mandala Custom Shapes on the Twinser and his relationship with Will Jobson. Oh, is that the video he watched? Oh, I think I've maybe seen it. Is that him? What is going on here? Being interviewed in his shaping bay. I might have actually watched this the other night. What have we got? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I can't really watch this because the sound's not set up. But I won't make you watch the ad. But yeah, I have a suspicion I watched that the other day. Something I will have to do yeah, I did watch this the other day. Yes, I did. It was a good video. So if you would like to watch that video, it is called Manny Caro of Mandala Custom Shapes on the Twinser and his relationship with Will Jobson. So this guy, Manny, has a very good understanding of Twinsers, and I definitely took away from it. I would have to rewatch it again. But yeah, his explanation was different than what I gave in my Twinser video. This one over here. Not completely different, but better, I would say. And then he's basically trying to hunt down Will Jobson because Will made Twinsers back in the day and had all this data and theories and was just a guru, and so Manny wants to avoid all the mistakes Will already made and like compare notes, you know. So yeah, it was a good video, worth a watch for sure. If you haven't ridden a Twinser, I would recommend doing so. They're going to be the next big thing, I reckon. It's, mark my words right here. Twinsers are going to be the next twin fin. You know how, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, it was only thrusters. No one rode twin fins, and now boards of all kinds of shapes and sizes, and we got quads and twinnies and single fins are back and all the rest. Twinsers will be back, and they're a very old design from the 70s, but they were kind of forgotten in time, and they will be back big, I think. Such a craftsman to be able to come up with ideas how to repair, and when something goes wrong still come up with new ideas, and in the end come out with a result so accurate. Well, thank you very much, Tone ASMR. I think that just comes down to product knowledge. So I'm just reading Third Earth's message here. I don't mean to intrude, but everyone who's watching today should really consider becoming a member. The members only Facebook page and members only videos are epic. Definitely worth the little cost. I appreciate that, man. And yeah, you guys should consider becoming members. Epic is an interesting description for the members only videos and the Facebook page, but we're getting there, and I think it will get better and better. So the whole goal, not in the beginning, but sort of the new goal, the first goal with the YouTube channel was to get to 1,000 subscribers. That was the big goal. And then I got there. And then I thought, whoa, what's the next goal? Where do we go next? So the next goal is to be able to make enough money from the YouTube channel that eventually when a customer brings me a board for repair, they bring this one in because it's got a bust nose, I make a YouTube video on it, I know that the cost of the repair will be covered by the YouTube revenue. So when the customer comes to pick the board up, I can just say to the customer, hey, no charge, YouTube has paid for it. And so that's going to be a really good thing for my business, a really good thing for the customer. It's going to encourage me to make more videos because it's good for my business and the customer, which is good for you guys because you get more videos out of it. Yeah, and I think it would just be a cool concept that I hadn't heard of before. So that's kind of the goal, and a part of that will be the membership. So as Third Earth said, you pay monthly to be a member, and then the perks, if you want to call them that, I do members only videos every week, and they're just general catch-ups on what I'm doing. You know, it might not even be work stuff, it's mostly work stuff, but sort of boards that are in for the week and what I'm working on. And Shapers Collective, the members knew about it long before general subscribers knew about it. And then there's also a Small Kind Ding Repairs members only Facebook page, so then you can put your own photos up on there and your own repairs and ask questions, and there's other people in there and I'm in there. And yeah, so and the plan is to, once, probably with the next videos now, because there's enough people in that Facebook group, that when I make a video for the YouTube channel, I'll publish it to the members first and share it in that Facebook group, so they'll have access to that video for 24 hours before I publicly release it on YouTube. It's kind of the plan anyway. So yeah, sign up, be a member if you want. No pressure though, no pressure. John Gibson, I appreciate it, thank you very much. That was a rant, I've forgotten this. Oh yeah, so I think all of it comes down to product knowledge. And it's kind of the same with the pricing. I didn't have it in the beginning. Man, I remember when I started fixing boards, and every board that came in the workshop was like an adventure. And I'd sit down and I'd stare at it, and I had a little notebook, and I'd like write down the whole game plan of steps of like what I'm gonna do to get the end result. And now kind of the adventure has gone for the most part. Boards like this one, that was a bit of an adventure. It took a bit of thinking about. But for like broken fin boxes and busted noses and that type of stuff, it's not like that anymore. And I think that just comes down to product knowledge, I think, is the big one. Having like a system of steps is important, but you can't really have that, or those steps, without the knowledge on the products that you're using. So that kind of comes back to like, there was a comment down here earlier, a guy saying, hey, could you make a video on colour, like when to add paint and all that sort of stuff. And so even that, like knowing the steps to the repair, so you have to fill the ding and glass it and all the rest, and you got to colour it, but which order do you colour it in? Do I put the painting step before the glassing or after the glassing? And the only way to answer that question is to have the product knowledge on both the paint and your resin and fiberglass and the board, and the products that the board are made of. So that product knowledge is really the basis for all of the steps to repairing a surfboard, if that makes sense. Has anyone seen M. Night Shyamalan's first film called Wide Awake? I have not. No. I feel like this is a trap. How do I... Oh, wait. Oh, I almost reported your comment. I don't know what happens. That someone comes to your door, I think, if I click that button. No, tell us about it. Tell us about it. Where are we? Hey, where do you buy this wax additive? Okay, so wax additive should be sold anywhere you're buying poly resin. Anywhere you can buy poly resin should sell you wax additive, also known as waxed styrene. Oh, you know what? I copied the Sharka and I didn't even use it. Anyway, you can buy poly resin should sell you wax additive, also known as waxed styrene. How did you know the question about the black stuff was going to be my question? Love the video and loving your content. Cheers, mate. Full video on the black stuff. It's called My Subscribers Ask the Strangest Questions. They do, they really do. What is that black stuff and what does it taste like? Weird. It's the only one of his films I haven't seen, wondering if it's bad, like The Visit, or good, bad, like The Happening or Lady in the Water. Oh, I can't say that I've seen any of those films, but I know what you mean. There's bad, and there's good, bad. Like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is like a good, bad. And Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat was bad. The only movie I ever walked out of. Fucking brilliant idea. Well done, man. So many good shapers around New Zealand. Sure, and enjoy your travels. What, Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat or Attack of the Killer Tomatoes? Dude, it was as my mother used to say, insult to my intelligence. It was really, really bad. I was offended by that movie. Great stuff. I'm fixing a bunch of skis. Can you tell me what kind of spray paint you were using? And also, was that epoxy resin with the 6 ounce? Yes. Oh, I love that foaming stuff. So, yeah, I have a feeling this was the surf ski nose I fixed, and I have a feeling, although it was made of poly, I had epoxy at home, and so I fixed it in epoxy. So, yes, it was. Tomato good. Yeah, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I think I was like 14 when I watched it. I'm definitely due to watch that again. Good times. So the spray paint is Molotov paints, and yes, although this ski is Poly, I believe, did the whole repair in epoxy in this case. Oh, don't do it. Yeah, bloody paste. No. Oh, now I've got Manicaro about like custom shape. God damn it. This Shaka will be the bane of my existence. Poly, I believe I did the whole repair in epoxy in this case. What have we got? Oh, we're getting there, guys. We're almost at the top. Getting there. There's a lot of comments. 2 weeks. Sorry. Cheers and aloha. Cheer and aroha. Thank you for another stunning video. And thank you so much for sharing your experience. Helpful and very pleasing as usual. I like how you put a little bit of German in there. Helpful and very pleasing as usual. I wonder if that was deliberate. Johann. Franzen. He's German for sure. Yep. I like that. You for watching. So I should say that I don't know how long this live stream has gone on for, but this is kind of mitigating circumstances because I've been away for so long. So usually there would not be this many comments. So if I start doing this on a more regular basis, then I'm imagining each week's live stream will be 40 minutes to an hour thereabouts. So yeah, there has been an absurd amount of comments in this round. But good to catch up, and we can start fresh in the new week. Absolutely love this idea. Done well, mate. Can't wait to see it develop. Watson Wise. Many thanks. You know, the good thing about the Shapers Collective is it can't really fail, because, I mean, right now I'm just waiting on Shapers, basically. I've built it. Justin and I have built it. We've spent the money on it. It's there. My surfboards are in there. Justin's surfboards are in there. We've got Primal's boards in there. We've got Alta fins. We've got Sticky Johnson leashes and soon-to-be board bags and wax. So if the Shapers don't want to jump on board and it doesn't work for them or doesn't interest them for whatever reason, well, we're still going to sell our boards through it and our product through it. So either way, it can't really fail. It was dead space in my business that wasn't used, and now we've turned it into something. And it's going to have the added benefit of making my business just seem or come across as more professional. So, yeah, it's a win-win situation. Third Earth Surf, he was here. He's out surfing now. Wait, I thought you were off surfing. Is he still here? Where is he? Yeah, that's what you're meant to be out there surfing hurricanes. I'm pretty sure he's not here anymore, but he was in the chat. The mask is gnarly. I bet you could find some replacement filters at a military surplus store. Those were designed to stop some pretty heavy chemicals. You might be onto something. I think so. I think that mask they were wearing them at Chernobyl and in the war and stuff. I feel like the least of those guys' problems was resin fumes. And I think you're right about being able to buy the filters in an army surplus store. So I'm going to look into that. But like I said earlier, somebody mentioned that they used to put asbestos in those filters as the filter. So I have to make sure that I'm not buying asbestos filters, because that doesn't seem productive. Oh no. Now I've got to learn how to spell Chernobyl. Oh no, I reckon it's Chernobyl. I think that's it. Sanding, great content. You are really good. One tip I would offer is that I did read this, you get a lapel microphone to improve the audio. A small detail, but it would really help with the echo in your workroom. Other than that, 5 stars from Seattle, Washington, USA. You're right, and that will be the next thing I need to buy. I think it will also make my editing process easier too. And especially, the ones that really make it hard are the mechanics next door in the shed next to me, because they're always revving engines and beeping horns, and they've got to do it to do the warrants of fitness for the cars. And so sometimes I'm trying to film and I have to wait and stop doing what I'm doing and wait an hour plus for them to finish doing what they're doing so that I can record without gnarly background noises. It's very frustrating, and I think the lapel mic will help that at all. So it hasn't cost me much, YouTube, to set up. I bought a microphone, I bought an iPhone which I film on, a tripod, or actually a few tripods, but none of them were expensive. And that's really it as overheads go, I think. So yeah, the mic will be the next one. Oh, and then setting this up was a bit of a rigmarole. So the second monitor was for this specifically. The webcam you're watching was for this specifically. And then I think purchase-wise, that's it. So the next purchase will be that lapel mic. Sometimes I think I use too many exclamation marks. Let's do this one first, because that's easy. Done. Cabacronella. Good on ya. Well said and done. Which one? Oh, this is the cloth inlay. I'm an old-time glasser. Started as a young fella at... Oh, Cronulla. He is from Cronulla. 1976, Jackson Surfboards. Wow. 1977, Southern Comfort Surfboards. 1978, G&S Surfboards. 1980 to 1983, Emerald Surfboards. Still doing my own boards and repairs. Also great to see you have full fume protection. We had nothing way back. Cheers. Unreal. That is quite the resume. There's been some really cool comments from people on all sorts of videos that work for surfboard factories, all around the world. A lot of US ones, but some in Europe, plenty in Oz. It's really cool, I think. And super cool too, I think, that somebody like this, who's been making boards since he was a kid, sweeping floors in theory, in 1976, today in 2024, not only is he still doing it as a job, but he's also still watching surfboard glassing videos on YouTube, which is crazy. It hasn't just become another job for him. He's spending his spare time looking at what he does for a job, which is for entertainment, which is pretty cool. Shows that it's not just a job to him. Oh, there, a Third Earth has me on his mobile data. That's epic. Unreal. Oh, I see. I hope you had it on Bluetooth. Don't drive on the phone. Unreal. What's I have to wait. I can do that here, I reckon. Surfline. I'm going to move that there because I have this fear of logging into something one day and exposing my password live on the interwebs. So I have to get in the habit of logging in on this screen, and then once I'm in, oh, that's bright, isn't it? Where are we going? Florida. Big swells, I reckon. Florida won't stop firing. So, oh, I don't want. Give me a camera. Where's the camera? How do you use this? Oh, don't make me use the map, because I'll never find Florida on a map. Surely it's in the surf spots. Florida Keys Reef map. Where are the cams? Oh, that's a lot of webcams. Holy moly. So if I was a cyclone, would I be on the east side or the west side? Let's try that one. I don't know what these numbers mean. What's the number? Is that... I know what the colours mean, though. Let's try this one. Surely that's not how many cams there are. No. Wait. Is it? Is that... Get out. There's that many webcams? Or is that spots? They're not all webcams. Can't be. Ocean Reef Park. What's that? This may not be very entertaining in the end. There's a webcam. That's a webcam. Juno Pier. Juno Pier. Oh, 4 webcams on the same spot? Are they webcams? They're not moving. Doesn't look very good. I think I'm looking in the wrong spot. I'm over it. Unreal. What a resume. Oh, they are webcams. They're loading. I'll bring them back up in a sec. No, I won't. It looks rubbish. I'm in the wrong spot. Oh no, it's not rubbish. Oh, it looks rubbish, but it's not. I didn't see the surfers. There's a good little barrel on this right-hander here, or left-hander here, just before. Looks quite grunty, but I'm not sure if the webcam's just playing it in like fast forward. It might be the lag that's making it look grunty. I don't know what's going on. Looks windy. It's definitely blowing. So here's a weird thought. If you film people in public, you're meant to get like a release. Like they have to sign a release. So I'm technically not filming these people, but I'm broadcasting them on YouTube. I wonder how they'd feel about that. And they'll never know. Well, yeah, it looks pretty fun. I'd get it before it gets too crowded. Enjoy, man. Coolest thing about those is you're still watching other people do it. Wait, you're in Texas? Didn't you say you're in Florida? Oh, you are in Texas. I knew that. But I'm guessing the swell is coming from Florida. Wait, you're in Texas? That's wild. Hurricane swelled from Florida. Sorry, I was thinking you were in Florida. Yeah, okay. Surely the lineup is empty in Texas. You must have the most uncrowded waves. 4 to 6 and hollow. Alright, let's check this out. I won't read out the name of the place. I don't want to send all one of my viewers to your wave. I think they're already there. Let's have a look. Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi. Oh, I said it. It's alright. You're the only one. You're the only one watching. Oh, here we go. That looks better. Let's have a look there. That's bigger. Unreal, what a resume. The coolest thing about all that is that after all these years, you're still watching other people do it. Do it on YouTube for entertainment. Which which goes to show that it hasn't become just a job to you after all these years. Thanks for the comment. That's it. That's all the comments. They're done. Holy moly, we made it. That was a lot of comments. I think there was one that I skipped because I had to get back to it. So in theory, if I refresh that page, it should just leave us with one comment. Now I am getting a warning about this live stream. I think my internet might be having troubles. Oh no, there's heaps more. Do you use separate washers for polyester and epoxy? Washers. Here we go. Pop out dashboard. Oh, what? Sorry, I'm discovering new things. I mean, all in all, I think this has gone pretty well. Oh, what? This is a way better window. Yeah, for a first live stream. So I'm not sure if you guys know, but I'm like, to do this live stream stuff and to be able to like do stuff like which we haven't even delved into yet, but like to what's going on? I'm typing in chats, it's all gone wrong. To do stuff like that, I can change the screen and I can have me and that screen, and I can do just way. There's all kinds of things to do, and we can once I get the sound sorted, which won't take much, but we can watch videos together and all that sort of stuff. It takes programs and things. You can't just do it. You have to download all this stuff, and so I am just learning how to use these programs. So I've practiced a bunch offline, but this is the first time I've ever done it online. And I've just found this new window. I can show you the new window. Can I? Doesn't have any crazy information on it. No. So this is what I'm seeing here. But I just found it. The thing I was seeing was this one.